Welcome to Morning Glory Farmstead. My name is Lolly, and this channel is all about gardening, animals, and nature. Y'all, this turned into a very bad storm that went several hours throughout the night. If you are one who does not like nature, go ahead and skip forward to 3 minutes and 43 seconds. I just think it's so amazing that we can go from such a dark and gloomy sky to an absolutely beautiful morning the next day. Look at how the sun is just resting on the top of those trees. You guys, that is not fall. That is literally the sun shining down on the tops of those trees. That is just gorgeous. For those of you who watch my other videos as well, I just wanted to let you know, I think I'm going to call this one Squeaker, because while he's practicing being a rooster, he sounds like a squeaker toy. This time I came prepared with my camera because I always miss him. Y'all, my tomatoes are still growing, but I wanted to show you I've still got sweet peppers, okra, and melons in the garden. Just beautiful. Those peppers are about 8 inches long. All right, you guys, I just wanted to put a quick plug in for your local farmers. If you guys have never bought meat from a local farmer, it is a completely different experience once you eat that meat. Now, we actually go to a farmer's market because it's closer. That farm comes to the farmer's market every weekend so that you can either go to the farm and pick up the meat or meet them at the farmer's market. And it's a very long drive if we don't go to the farmer's market, so that's where we go just to avoid having to travel so far. I think it is fantastic that they are willing to come to the farmer's market so that we can experience that meat. So you guys, don't be afraid to check out your local farmers and farmers market and just see what's available in your area. All right, so today's video, we're going to be talking about this Grower Solution greenhouse. This is from the first video I did explaining everything about the process from when you order to when it gets there, going through all of the items on the packaging list and everything like that. And then I also did another video with a bunch of tips about what I've learned so far about this process. So the whole point is for me to help you become familiar with the process, what's expected, what you might have to do, what you're going to need so that it's easier for you. I always love it when I can make things easier for someone else. So this is part of that whole process. Now, this is from the last video where I showed you how I'm getting started with the greenhouse by doing the first step, which is laying the ground cover. So today's video is going to be about all of the tools that are needed to actually put this together. Now, my son-in-law worked in the heat today, bringing all of this around by himself from the front porch to the back because I've got some guys coming over on Saturday to put this together. And I thought, you know, since I'm gathering all my tools and getting everything ready, there might be some things in here that you guys find helpful. Oh, you guys, I had to buy some more stakes for the ground cover, and he's asking if they've arrived yet and saying he'll do it for me.
Yeah. Yes.
that mean you're gonna do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
What a lifesaver, you guys, because I cannot get on my knees like that because of my left leg. It just doesn't bend like that anymore. I've lost a lot of the flexibility in that leg. And so I would have to stand and bend over upside down on my head. Ah, what a blessing. All right, so let's talk about some of the tools you may need and how you're going to be using them. It's just to make things easier for you guys. If you understand what tools are needed and why they're needed, this whole process is going to make so much more sense to you than it did to me when I started. And don't be afraid to ask other people if they have tools that you can borrow. Obviously, not everybody's going to want to do that, but if it's people that you know that you're pretty close to, or if they're coming to help, ask if they have some of the tools that you're going to need. So that you're not having to buy everything. For instance, there is Justin. Not only did he help me today pick up all the lumber and the storm doors, but he also has some tools that he's going to bring with him for the greenhouse project. So don't be scared to ask, you guys. Just an FYI, the lumber and the storm doors did not come with this kit. I just went to Lowe's and got the very basic storm doors that have a screen so I can open it on both sides of the greenhouse. Now, the first thing I have here are the garden staples or galvanized stakes, whatever you want to call them. And these are what are going to hold down the ground cover. Now, be careful if you get the ones that are really cheap because those just pop up out of the ground. So I'm hoping these work really well. Okay, next I have a box of peel-off China markers. I'm going to use these to draw a circle where I want my poles to go that are going to be the base of the greenhouse. Those are also called stakes. Those are the poles that are on the bottom all the way around the greenhouse. And then I'm going to use this butane torch to actually create the hole. Now you guys can use spray paint as well to mark a circle where you want the pole once you've done your measurements. I just got these markers so I could use them for projects in the future. Next, you're gonna need a post driver to get all of the metal stakes into the ground. You're gonna drive them in 2 feet. You can do this just using a mallet and hammering, or you can take this manual post driver, which works a little bit faster than the mallet, or like I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using a gas-powered post driver. And it literally just arrived right before I posted this video. So here's what the box looks like, and you guys will have to wait to actually see it a little bit later. Now this comes in a case, and it's actually pretty heavy. I will not be up on the ladder with this thing. The guys are going to be doing that. But this just slides right over the post hole. You turn it on, it's gas powered, and it's going to hammer that down in for us and save hours worth of manual labor. Okay, next is a measuring tape. Now, my greenhouse is 24 by 24, so you would think that that would be long enough, but it's not. I'm actually using a 35-foot measuring tape because part of the squaring process and making sure that everything is aligned is going to be checking the diagonal length between the 2 corner stakes. And that is supposed to be 33 feet and 11 inches. And so to keep from having to piece together measuring tapes and coming out inaccurate, I decided just to go ahead and get one that was going to be plenty long enough so I can get from one corner post to the other without any issues. Now, in order to get all of the ground stakes aligned properly, you're going to need some type of string or twine that you're going to run from one corner post to the other all the way around the greenhouse, and you're going to use that to align all of your posts. Now you're going to want your ground stakes to go in plumb, which means perfectly straight vertically. And that's plumb, which is spelled P-L-U-M-B as in boy. And I haven't used these before, but these are magnetic. They had pretty good reviews. You just attach them to the pole and someone can be watching the level inside there to make sure that it's going in plumb while someone else is driving the stakes into the ground. Next, you're going to need some protective eyewear because you are going to have to use a saw to cut on the metal poles a couple times just to make sure that they're the right height. And also, depending on your measurements, you may have to cut some of the wood as well. And that brings me to the next item, which is a saw. Now, I'm going to be using a reciprocating saw. You can use a sawzall. I've seen people use different kinds of saws, but you want to make sure that you have one that actually cuts metal. This one can cut wood or metal, depending on the blade that you use, so that's going to be convenient. And because this one runs on electricity and has a cord, not a battery, I had to make sure that I got an extension cord that's long enough to reach. Some of my tools use a battery and some of them have cords, so just make sure you take that into consideration. Now, you're also going to need a drill because you're going to be drilling what are called tech screws, and those tech screws are drilled into the metal. So you're going to have wood screws that are going into the lumber, and you're going to have the metal tech screws going into the poles. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't show here is you're going to need a couple tall ladders, because the stakes that are going into the ground, you're going to drive them 2 feet into the ground. They're pretty tall, so someone's going to need to be up at the top with the post driver, and so having a tall ladder is going to help. And also when they're putting the bows on, which are the arches that go across the top, it's helpful if you have 2 people and both of them on a ladder on each side so that you can get them in at the same time, and it just makes it so much easier. All right, you guys, don't forget to check out my Grower Solution Greenhouse playlist so that you can get all the tips that you need so that you know exactly what's coming when you start this process. Also, if there were some items that you were interested in, make sure you check the description box. And I really hope you found this helpful. I'll see you real soon in the next video, and until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.